Hi everyone, I'm Soumyadeep Paul, a mentor at CodeCardos and a software developer at Amazon, and welcome to day 2 of our system design series. Now, in the previous video of system design, in our day 1 video, we learned what is system design, how do we use system design, why is it required, etc. And we also learned that if you are sitting in a system design interview, especially in an HLD interview, high level design interview, then these were the 4 steps. We covered 4 different steps that everyone should follow when they're appearing for a system design interview. Okay. And mind it, first we're covering HLD and later on we'll be covering LLD. Okay. So now in today's video, we'll be covering 2 important concepts. The first important concept is what is the difference between website? What is the difference between website and web applications? Well, they both sound very similar, isn't it? But they don't mean the same thing. There is a huge difference between them. Now, website is something that displays static content only. Displays static content. Displays static content. For example, you see Wikipedia. Examples like you see Wikipedia, or you have some blog pages where you read blogs, like Geeks for Geeks or any other website where you just read blogs. Some news websites, etc. Isn't it? People have a portfolio websites. People have their portfolios on their URLs. Okay, etc. But what are web applications? Web applications are web applications are applications that support CRUD operations. Applications that support CRUD operations. Okay. And not just static content. CRUD operations and not just static content. Well, they may contain static content, but not just static content. Okay. Not just static content. And what are its examples? Its examples will be most websites on the internet. Okay, most websites on the internet. Now, what do we even mean by CRUD operations? CRUD, C-R-U-D, it stands for C for create, R for read, U for update, and D for delete. So you should be able to create some data. Read, you should be able to read some data. Update, you should be able to update some existing data. And D, you should be able to delete some existing data. For example, social media websites, YouTube, all of these are web applications because they support CRUD operations. Well, just think about social media websites, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. You can add a post, which is create. You're creating some content, you're creating some data. You can read posts, which is read. You can update your existing posts, which is update. Or you can delete posts or comments, and not just post, likes, comments. There are a lot of things where you can create some data, you can read some data, you can update some data, or you can delete some data, isn't it? So any website which supports these CRUD operations, or just even just one of these CRUD operations, not necessarily all 4 CRUD operations, just maybe either create or either read or just read or delete, something like that. Okay. In that case, it is called as web application. In that case, those websites are called as web applications. But if you can just read data, okay, if you can just do R, then it is called a website because it supports just static content. But if you can do R with either C or U or D, then it becomes a web application. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now, this was the first concept we wanted to cover. The second concept is that there are 3 layers of a web application. 3 layers of a web application. Okay, 3 layers of web application. Now, what are these 3 layers? The first layer is called as the UI layer, also called as the front end layer. Okay. The second layer is called as the backend layer, also called as the business logic layer. or the server layer, or the business logic layer. Okay. And the third layer is called as the data layer or the storage layer. Okay. So let's see what these three different layers actually mean. So the first layer is the UI or the front end, which is the layer with which the end consumer, your customer interacts. Okay. This is the layer with which the customer interacts. Okay. So for example, we are the customers of social media websites like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. So we interact with Instagram through our phones, through the mobile apps in our phones, or through the websites on our laptop or desktop, etc. So those apps which we run on our phone, or the websites that we run on our browser, those are the UI part, those are the front end part, because we are interacting with Instagram through those applications, through those apps, or through those websites. Okay. So we are able to interact with those websites. We are able to interact with those web applications through the websites, through the front end. Okay. Now there is something called the back end, the server or the business logic, which actually hosts this. This is the layer that hosts all the logic, or I can say functionality. Okay, functionality. Now suppose you're adding a post on Instagram. You are uploading a picture, you're writing some content, then you're uploading it. So then you did some part through the front end. But then the front end actually made an API call to backend. The backend received the data, the post, the content, etc., stored it somewhere, and then give a response back to the front end that, hey, I have uploaded the picture, I have uploaded the post, you're done. And then so that next time someone comes to your profile, or you yourself go to your profile, or your friends may see that picture, that post in their timeline. So all the logic, all the complex code, the logic, the functionality on which these platforms, the UI is working, is called as the business layer. Okay. And then we have the data or the storage layer, which seems pretty obvious that this is the database layer where everything is stored. The database layer where everything is stored. Okay. Where everything is stored. Okay. So let's take an example of Instagram. The user data is stored, the posts data is stored, the likes and comments on the posts are stored, followings are stored, etc. So much of information is stored. And all that information is stored in the database layer. Okay. It is stored in different databases. And that complete set of databases is called as the database layer. Okay. So in picture, we have something like this. This is the UI. This is the server. And this is the database. Database is given by this picture. Okay. So UI talks with the server, the backend. The server may add some data in the database, may delete some data, update some data, and get the response that, hey, I have done that. And then the server can return the response back to the UI. So this is how the entire thing happens. Okay. Every web application works in this method. Okay. So that's it for today's video. I'll see you all in the next video, which is day 3 of our system design. And if you want to keep learning these concepts in a much more in-depth manner and take coaching and get trained to appear for system design interviews straight away from the developers who work at big companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, etc., then do join Code Cardos.